Now we've come to the end of our master class on understanding encryption, and I hope by now that you understand why encryption is necessary in today's internet wired world. Basically, encryption helps you to maintain your privacy and protects your personal information from the threats that are out there. Now, out of all the things you can do to protect your data, encryption is probably one of the better things you can do. In fact, it's probably the best thing you can do to protect your data, whether it's being stored on your computer or being transmitted across the internet. Now, there are some basic guidelines that I will tell you about encryption, and most of these are just common sense guidelines, of course. First of all, don't encrypt everything. The reason I would tell you that is if you encrypt everything, even data that's not very important or not of a personal or sensitive nature, you're basically bogging down your computer. You're making your computer work harder every time you access a piece of data that's encrypted. And if you have everything encrypted, then the computer is working that much harder. Also, it's just difficult to manage all that data and trying to sort through what's really important. So what I would tell you is decide which data really warrants encryption. For example, your family photo album probably does not need to be encrypted. Okay? However, any electronic statements or financial data, any piece of data that may have social security numbers or credit card numbers on it, of course you would encrypt that. Another thing I would tell you is to back up all of your data, whether it's encrypted or not encrypted. And the reason I would tell you this is because encryption really only protects against unauthorized people from looking at your data. It does not protect your data from being destroyed. So let's say you lose your hard drive crashes. You still have lost that encrypted data as well as data that's important to you that's not encrypted. So back that data up. Make encrypted copies if you need to, but store that data on a USB stick or removable hard drive or a CD-ROM or DVD, for example. Now, critical data, of course, and by critical data we mean sensitive data or just basically any data you would not want to get out there to the world. That should be encrypted while it's on the hard drive or in storage on another media, such as an external USB drive. Encrypt it while it's on those media. You can use any of the programs we've talked about, such as Windows Encrypting File System, which is built into Microsoft Windows, or you can use a third-party tool, such as TrueCrypt, or some other encryption program, such as OpenPGP or whatever. Make sure that if the program supports strong algorithms and keys, use them. And the reason you want to do this is because, as we've talked about before, an encryption process or system is only as strong as the mathematical algorithm that encrypts and the key that's used to encrypt it as well. Okay? And if those algorithms and keys are weak or small, then it's not going to be an effective encryption. Okay? So if your encryption program offers, say, a choice between 56-bit DES or DES and 256-bit AES, well, of course, go with the stronger one, the AES. Now, a lot of programs require passwords to decrypt data, or they may require you to put in a key or a PIN, or even use a personal digital certificate. You should protect those items also, and protect them with the same level of protection that you actually protect the data itself, because if someone gets that password or that key or that PIN, then of course they can decrypt your data and get to it, and you don't want that. So protect those things as well. Now, data that's sent over a network, over the internet possibly, anything that's basically transmitted through email, through web browsing sessions and so forth, through file sharing or FTP, that should be encrypted if it's of a sensitive or personal nature. If you're just sending a picture of your vacation, you probably don't need to encrypt it. But if you're sending financial data or something you really don't want anyone else to see, definitely encrypt it. You definitely want to use websites that can support encryption. And those websites are usually SSL enabled, secure sockets layer, and they just about always have an HTTPS in their URL. They will use a digital certificate. Make sure that that digital certificate is valid and it's current. And the same thing when you transmit data any other way over the internet. You may have to encrypt the entire session, such as you do during a financial transaction with a secure website, or you can encrypt the individual files themselves and send them across the network. And we do that with email sometimes. So just make sure that you encrypt that data when it's transmitted if it means something to you and you don't want it intercepted. That's basically the few good things I can tell you about encryption, and we've covered a lot of things during this course, and we've talked about a lot of different ways to encrypt and why you would use encryption. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of encryption and how it works and why and when to use it.